Welcome to the Shyfty Blogs, a personal project being done for Survey of New Media. Hi, Dr. Sims. Or as I like to think of it, one man, one webcam, no life whatsoever. A little formal introduction. My name is James, Shyfty to some, just weird to others. I'm 36, 37 in August, a media communications major, and for most of my life I've been dealing with bipolar disorder. I'm an avowed geek. You name it, I have likely collected it, read it, watched it, played it, or at least know enough about it to hold a decent conversation. I like to think that, well, I'd get myself a life, I just can't seem to find one in my size. Talking about myself isn't the easiest thing to do. Typing about myself, well, that's not that hard. I mean, you have words as kind of like a curtain. It's easy to just keep yourself hidden behind a live journal page or a funny blog post here or there. Getting out there and doing it in a video form, if anything, makes it more intimate, scarier. Despite the header for this section, I didn't really know I was growing up bipolar. I was misdiagnosed as hyperactive. I had been given things like tranquilizers and mood stabilizers that played havoc with my body chemistry, and all of this before I was 12 years old. I didn't really know what I was going through. All I know is I was a hyperactive little kid, and about the time I hit 10 or 11, that's when the first downswing started. I had my first actual suicidal thought when I was 12, and it's something I've talked about before, and I'm not likely to go into heavy detail here. But safe to say, over the years, it got progressively worse, until one point I finally actually had to go see someone. And the ironic thing is, once I found out about it, a lot of things just sort of clicked together. There may be people out there who are going through the same thing I'm going through, who have those mood swings and they're not quite sure what is going on in their own heads, or people who suspect there's something wrong but haven't had the will to go talk to a professional about it. That being said, I'd like to set up a couple of thoughts here just to help motivate you and give you a reason to go out there and get tested and see a shrink and look into medication if there is something wrong. Number one, you're not crazy. As much as there is a stigma to bipolar disorder or any of the depressive disorders, it's a chemical imbalance. In some cases, it can be treated with psychotherapy, but for the most part, it is something you cannot control. So, you're not crazy. It's just something wonky in your brain meets, and you need to see about getting it taken care of. If you don't, it will only get worse. Trust me, I know. Number two, don't just do it for you. Do it for your family. Do it for the people that care about you. For a long time, I hid what I was going through from my own mother. Now, my mom is without a doubt one of the strongest people I know. She took me out of a home with an abusive, drunken asshole of a man, raised me by herself, and at one point she had held down two jobs, ran an active cattery, and still made sure I had everything I could want. She's been both a male and a female role model. And like I said, I hid this part of what I was going through from her for years simply because I didn't want her to worry. It was one year I was in my 20s, and I'd walked into her room in the middle of the night, crying my eyes out for no reason, completely panicked and unsure of anything, that I finally let her see what I was going through. And now, over the years, she's seen me at my worst, and seen me twitchy, seen me repeat things over and over again, see me cry, see me laugh madly. And I know it kills her, because she sees me like this, and I know she knows she can't help. and she feels helpless about it. And me knowing that just makes me feel worse. So if you suspect something's wrong, go see someone. Think about the people that depend on you and that you depend on, that things like this would just eviscerate. I mean, the suicide rate for bipolar disorder is high. And while suicide may seem like a good idea, it is one of the most single selfish acts someone in this condition can do, because you are so focused on ending your own pain that you forget everything else. You forget everyone else. Now, I've always had the standard joke is that I'm too smart to kill myself, too stupid to put myself out of my misery. And that kind of applies. I mean, I do get a little self-focused at times when I'm in a particular downswing, but knowing that I have family out there that cares about me and would be devastated by the loss keeps me here. So if all else fails, do it for your family. And three, it is treatable. There are medications that can work. The brain is still a thing that people are spending years dissecting and studying, but they are getting better at it. Every year, new medications are being designed, new treatments are being thought up. It is fixable. And that was part of the reason why I was scared for so long to see about getting any sort of medical help, is I was afraid the parts that came with the bipolar that I appreciated, the moments of intense focus, the kind of cynical, dark take on things. I was afraid that those would vanish, the things that made me me. But for a year, I took lithium. Now, I wouldn't recommend it for an extended period. For one, it's really not healthy in prolonged doses, and two, after a while, your body starts building up a tolerance. But getting that sort of treatment, even for a while, it helped mellow out some of the mood swings, and I felt so much better. So that being said, look into medication. If you even slightly suspect that there's something wrong, a good pharmacist, I mean, go see a doctor, they'll set you up. It's worth it in the long run. They say a short, sharp shock is the best way to get people's attention sometimes. And maybe that's part of why I talk about my bipolar for my very first post. Also, if anyone gets any sort of help or shows any sort of concern about their family that might be going through this and gets them help, then it's worth it. However, I do promise that anything I do after, there may be darker moments, there may be more serious moments, but for the most part, it's not nearly going to be as deep. Well, in closing, I just say, knowing your own head sometimes can be a challenging thing, but in the end, it's worth it. This is James, the shifty one himself, saying, I'm me, so you don't have to be. Goodbye.